G'day guys and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're talking about the Wedgetail versus the Warwick jacketed muzzle brakes. Now obviously for competition reasons and probably copyright and patent reasons or whatever, they both have vastly different names. Throughout this I'm going to be referring to them just as jacketed muzzle brakes because that's what makes more sense in my brain. Now you've probably already seen me test this one, being the Warwick jacketed muzzle brake. I haven't got around to actually live fire testing this one yet because, sometimes you just can't get out to the range and do what you want to do. So that will be becoming a video when I live fire test that a little bit down the track. However, in this video we're just going to go through a bit of a side-by-side comparison. So if you are looking at buying either one of those, you can have a bit more of an informed decision as opposed to just looking on the internet at photos. Let's just, straight off the bat, let's weigh these. Okay, so we've got our little scale here. Alright, so the Warwick jacketed muzzle brake complete is 218 grams. And the Wedgetail version is 200 grams, so very similar in weight. We'll just cover off some of the key differences between the two just before we go into too much more of the nitty gritty on them. So this one here is the 30 cal brake. Now it has a 5/8 24 thread in the muzzle brake itself. The front here is set up for a 30 cal, so most companies will do caliber size plus 30% or caliber size plus 20 thou. So this one's set up for 30 cal, so you can fire anything 30 cal and below. You can't fire anything above 30 cal. They do also come in a 2-3 version, which will have a smaller hole at the front and a half 28 thread at the back. With the Wedgetail, no matter what thread size you buy, you're going to get the same hole at the front, which measures at about 9.5 millimeters or thereabouts. But you can opt to have obviously a half 28, 5/8 24, etc. This one here is a half 28. So those are your key differences between the two in functionality between your thread sizes and your bore size. Right, so if we pull these apart, what we have for the Warwick one, we'll move Wedgetail out of the way for now. We have our jacket and then we have our muzzle brake itself. Let's talk about the jacket first. So the jacket has these cuts on the side. Now I believe that is the same cuts as a AR-15 castle nut. So I think the idea behind that being that you can wrench that on and off if it gets stuck with a standard AR-15 buffer tube castle nut tool. We have obviously a large thread in the front, a very big cavity in the front, and then we have our holes around the bore to allow the gases to escape forwards. It's a radial brake. Now radial brakes do a very good job of reducing recoil. Obviously the reason why they're not very well liked is because let's say that my fingers here is dirt. When that fires, everything underneath it, if you're firing prone, is going to and go up in the air, which can be a bit of a pain in the ass. So that's one of the reasons why people don't really like radial brakes. I personally really love radial brakes just purely because of the amount of recoil reduction they do give you. It's not as aggressive as a side-ported multi-baffle brake, which you would really be kicking the shit out of the range users next to you, but in my opinion, radial brakes are the next best thing for reducing recoil. So we'll put those to the side there for now. All right, so with the Wedgetail one, let's unscrew this. We can see the form factor is quite a bit smaller, and that's our brake there. So on the Wedgetail one, it's completely open front. So if we put that back in there for a second, as opposed to the Warwick one, which is closed front. We have a much larger thread on the brake portion of it. Instead of being radial ported like this, this is radial slotted, so there is no, sometimes you'll see like an A2 style brake, or A2 style flash suppressor I should say, the bottom is closed, you don't get all of the gas going down towards the ground when you're firing prone. That's the idea behind that. This is radially all the way around, but it is slotted instead of ported. Now the good thing about this is it comes with a thread protector, so if you're running it without the jacket on, you put that on and now your threads are protected. On the Warwick you don't get that, so that could be an issue for you. If you banging your gun around, you could damage those threads. You're not going to do that with this because you do have a thread protector. Actually what we'll do is we'll weigh these without the jacket, so I'm going to leave that on because obviously if you're going to have that thread protector, you're probably going to run it with it on. So let's bring that back in. It is 132 and the Warwick is 84. So obviously a hell of a lot lighter with that, and I do believe a lot of that weight's probably going to come from this thread protector. So let's whack that off real quick just in case you want to know what that weight is and you don't want to run a thread protector. 110. So we've got 110 versus 85 essentially, or 110 versus 84 if you want to get really nitty gritty on it. So let's move that across to the side there again. So I know from firing this that this does reduce a shitload of recoil because I've done the live fire test. As I said, I haven't live fire tested this one yet. So after I've done a standalone live fire review on this, there may be a head-to-head on these two. You will just have to subscribe to see if that does actually eventuate, but I'm pretty sure that's the way I'm going to go. So let's put these back together and wrap up with our final thoughts. What do I think about them? I think they're both actually really, really good. I think it more so comes down to the aesthetic, right? So which aesthetic do you appreciate more? This or this? They both, I dare say, are going to function very, very similar. As I said, this one does really, really well. I'm assuming this one's going to do well. I'd used the first version of these, so this is like the second gen, if you will. I think between the two, it's probably purely aesthetic. Both look badass, both are awesome products. You know, we do have, when they're complete like this, the weight is pretty much the same. So yeah, there you go. That's a little quick side-by-side comparison on the Warwick and the Wedgetail. As I said, we'll do some live fire, we'll do some more testing. There'll be more videos about these two products, so I just want to give you the overview. So anyway, I hope you got something out of that. I'll see you next video, and hooroo.